Well, friends, it looks like another Supreme Court justice has sent up an unmistakable signal that he's throwing his lot in with the insurrection. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, you've probably heard Senator Sheldon Whitehouse talk about how the Supreme Court has been captured by extreme right-wingers, captured by Republican billionaires. Well, it now looks like Supreme Court Justice Samual Alito has literally flown a flag proving Senator Whitehouse to be right. Alito flew an American flag upside down at his home in Alexandria, Virginia, right after the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, an attack designed to stop the certification of Joe Biden's presidential win. Alito flew a flag at his home, showing his solidarity with the insurrectionists and the insurrection. Let's start with the new reporting. This from CBS News. Headline: Justice Alito's home flew flag upside down after Trump's Stop the Steal claims, report says. And that article begins, an upside-down American flag, a symbol associated with former President Donald Trump's false claims of election fraud, was displayed outside the home of Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito in January 2021, the New York Times reported Thursday. A photo obtained and published by the newspaper shows the flag flying on January 17, 2021, days after Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. Dozens of rioters were carrying similarly inverted flags and chanting slogans like, "Stop the Steal." The report could raise concerns about Alito's impartiality as the court considers two major cases related to the attack, including charges faced by the rioters and whether Trump has immunity from prosecution on election interference charges. It comes as another conservative justice, Clarence Thomas, has ignored calls to recuse himself from cases related to the 2020 election over his wife, Ginny Thomas's, support for Trump, and as public trust in the Supreme Court is at its lowest point in the last 50 years. Judicial experts said the flag clearly violates ethics rules set to avoid even the appearance of bias. At the time the flag was flying, the court was still considering whether to take up cases over the 2020 election. It ultimately rejected them over dissent from three conservative justices, including Alito, who was appointed by Republican President George W. Bush. He wrote that the court's consideration of the cases would have no impact on the 2020 election, but would provide invaluable guidance for future elections. Alito, for his part, acknowledged the presence of the flag at his home in Alexandria, Virginia, but said it was placed there by his wife. This quote from Sam Alito, quote, "I had no involvement whatsoever in the flying of the flag," Alito said in an emailed statement to the newspaper. Quote, "It was briefly placed by Mrs. Alito in response to a neighbor's use of objectionable and personally insulting language on yard signs." Okay, now, wait a minute. Sammy, your house, your flag, flying upside down right after the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, at which Trump's supporters, insurrectionists, were carrying upside down American flags. But your explanation is that your wife decided right after the January 6th attack to stop the steal, stop the certification. Your wife decided that was the time to fly the American flag upside down because she objected to a neighbor's lawn sign. I have a question for you, friends. In how many ways does that explanation sound like bullshit? But here we are, friends. Justice Alito and Justice Clarence Thomas, I should probably say, Clarence and Ginny Thomas, because they're kind of a Supreme Court justice partnership. Those justices have thrown in with the insurrection. And let's face it, thus far, they have caught and killed Donald Trump's D.C. federal prosecution for inciting the insurrection that they have now thrown in with. Judge Tanya Chutkan is sitting there waiting for the case to be returned to her so she can set a fair and speedy trial for both the defendant and for the American people. We are waiting for our right to a fair and speedy trial to be honored. But it's pretty clear where Justice Samuel Alito stands. There it is. The only way to at least begin to rebuild and restore some sense of legitimacy to the U.S. Supreme Court is for Justices Alito and Thomas to recuse themselves from all January 6th related cases, just as the federal law provides. 28 U.S. Code Section 455, a justice, not just a judge or a magistrate judge, a justice shall recuse himself from any case in which his impartiality might reasonably be questioned. And do you know why we have that federal law on the books? Because justice matters. Friends, hang in there. Keep fighting, including by getting to the polls in November in numbers too big to rig and too real to steal. Please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.